Hey gorgeous souls, I'm Victoria Sterling, and I'm about to tell you the most elegant revenge story that turned my husband's betrayal into the reason. I destroyed his mistress's life at my own charity Gala, how I used her darkest secret to humiliate her in front of New York's elite while securing the most satisfying divorce settlement in Manhattan history. When I discovered that my investment banker husband Charles had been having an affair with his young assistant Elena for 2 years, I didn't just file for divorce. I invited Elena to my annual $10 million charity fundraiser as Charles's date, then exposed her secret illegal immigration status, her theft from Charles's clients, and her blackmail scheme against 3 other married executives, destroying her life in front of 500 of New York's most powerful people. But here's where this high society revenge gets absolutely insane. I hadn't just been sleeping with my husband, she'd been running an elaborate extortion ring, blackmailing wealthy married men with compromising photos while stealing client funds from Charles's investment firm. When I exposed everything at the gala, Elena was arrested by federal agents. Charles lost his banking license and I walked away with $50 million and control of our social circle. This story has everything Manhattan elite drama: charity gala, sabotage, immigration fraud, financial extortion, and the kind of high society revenge that turned one cheating husband's midlife crisis into the complete destruction of his entire world. Y'all ready for this elegant takedown? Because this is how a woman of class handles betrayal with style, strategy, and devastating consequences. Beautiful souls, let me take you back to 2 years ago when I thought Charles and I had the perfect Manhattan power couple marriage, completely unaware that he was betraying our 15-year partnership with a calculating gold digger who was using him to steal from his clients. I'm Victoria Sterling, 47 years old, and I'm the founder and president of Sterling Foundation, Manhattan's most prestigious children's charity that raises over $10 million annually for underprivileged youth education. My husband, Charles Sterling, 52, was a senior partner at Whitman & Associates, one of Wall Street's most exclusive investment firms, managing portfolios for ultra-high net worth clients. Charles and I had built what everyone considered the perfect Manhattan marriage: power, wealth, social influence, and genuine partnership in both business and philanthropy. Victoria and Charles are the golden couple of Manhattan society. Town and country had written about us. Their combination of financial success and charitable impact makes them the most respected power couple in New York. We lived in a $15 million penthouse on the Upper East Side, owned a Hampton estate, and were fixtures at every major social event in Manhattan's elite circles. You two represent everything beautiful about success with purpose. Friends would tell us at galas and society events: money with meaning, power with responsibility. Charles had always been supportive of my charitable work, often attending my foundation events and contributing his financial expertise to our fundraising strategies. Victoria's charity work is incredible, Charles would tell business associates. Her ability to raise money for children's education inspires me to be better at everything I do. Sterling Foundation had become Manhattan's premier children's charity under my leadership, hosting the most exclusive and successful fundraising events in the city. Our annual spring gala consistently raised $10 to $12 million in a single evening, attracting celebrities, politicians, and business leaders from across the country. Victoria's Gala is the most important social event of the year, society pages would write. Missing Sterling Foundation's Spring Gala means you're not truly part of Manhattan's elite. I'd built the foundation through 15 years of relationship building, strategic networking, and genuine passion for children's education reform. Victoria Sterling has revolutionized charitable fundraising. Philanthropy Today had featured me. Her innovative approaches and personal charm have made giving fashionable and impactful. The foundation's success had given me enormous social influence and respect throughout Manhattan's power structures. When Victoria speaks, people listen and write checks. Board members would joke she could raise money for anything if she believed in it. My social position was built on integrity, purpose, and genuine relationships with the city's most influential families. Victoria represents the best of old money values with new money innovation, society observers would note. Charles and I had always presented ourselves as equal partners in both marriage and Manhattan society, sharing decisions and supporting each other's careers. Charles handles our investments while Victoria handles our social impact. We would tell people, we're a team in everything we do. Charles had been my biggest supporter during foundation events, often giving speeches about the importance of philanthropy and our shared commitment to children's education. My wife Victoria is the most remarkable woman I know, Charles would tell gala audiences. Her passion for helping children has made me a better person and a more conscious investor. Our marriage had weathered various challenges over 15 years, and I'd believed we had the communication and trust necessary for a lifetime partnership. Victoria and I tell each other everything, Charles would claim during interviews. Transparency and trust are the foundation of our success. I'd trusted Charles completely with our finances, our reputation, and our future, believing his integrity matched his professional success. Charles is the most honest man I know. I would tell friends. This complete trust would make his betrayal even more devastating when I finally discovered the truth about his double life. About 18 months ago, I began noticing small changes in Charles's behavior that seemed insignificant, but gradually formed a concerning pattern. Charles started working later hours and traveling more frequently for what he claimed were new client acquisitions and business development. The financial markets are requiring more personal attention to client relationships. Charles would explain when I asked about his increased absence. High net worth clients expect face-to-face meetings and personalized service. He'd continue. I need to be available when they need reassurance about their investments. Charles also became more secretive about his phone and email, taking calls privately and being vague about business communications. Client confidentiality is becoming more strict, Charles would say. When I noticed his increased privacy, I can't risk discussing sensitive financial information where it might be overheard. I'd also noticed Charles paying more attention to his appearance, buying new clothes and working out more frequently than usual. I want to look professional and successful when meeting with younger clients, Charles explained his renewed focus on fitness and fashion. Charles's interest in foundation events and charitable activities had also decreased, with him often finding excuses to miss meetings and social functions. The investment business is so demanding right now, Charles would apologize for missing charity events. I'll make it up to you and the foundation once things settle down. These changes felt gradual and explainable individually, but, collectively, they suggested that Charles's priorities and attention were shifting away from our marriage and shared commitments. Gorgeous souls. The truth about Charles's betrayal came to light in the most humiliating way possible when I discovered he'd been flaunting his affair at business events while lying to me about working late to serve his clients. The first major red flag occurred when I attended a surprise charity event in the Hamptons and saw Charles with a young woman who was obviously not there for business purposes. I'd driven to the Hamptons to surprise Charles at what he'd told me was a boring client dinner that I would find tedious and unnecessary to attend. It's just a routine business meeting with some conservative investors, Charles had said. You'd be bored, and they're not really the foundation donor type. When I arrived at the restaurant, Charles had mentioned I saw him at an intimate corner table with a stunning young brunette who was clearly not a client. The woman was dressed elegantly and expensively, wearing jewelry that suggested she had access to significant money, and her body language with Charles was obviously romantic. Charles never mentioned bringing anyone else to this business dinner. I thought while observing them from across the restaurant, they were holding hands across the table, sharing dessert, and Charles was looking at her with an intensity and attention that I hadn't seen directed toward me in months. I left without confronting them, but I began paying much closer attention to Charles's explanations about his business activities and schedule. If Charles is lying about this dinner, what else has he been lying about? I wondered, while driving home in shock and confusion. Suspicious and heartbroken, I hired Manhattan's most discreet private investigator to uncover the truth about Charles's activities and potential affair. I need to know everything about my husband's relationship with the woman he was dining with, I told the investigator while providing photos and details from the Hamptons incident. The investigation revealed that Charles had been having an affair with Elena Rodriguez, 28, his executive assistant at Whitman & Associates. Your husband and Elena have been involved romantically for approximately 2 years, the investigator reported. The relationship began shortly after she was hired at his firm. The affair had been conducted openly at business events and client dinners throughout Manhattan, with Charles introducing Elena as his business partner to people who didn't know me. Charles has been taking Elena to investment conferences, client meetings, and business dinners where she poses as his professional associate, the evidence showed. They've taken 3 vacation trips together, with Charles telling you he was attending financial seminars and client conferences. The investigator revealed through credit card records and travel documentation. The evidence included photos of Charles and Elena at expensive restaurants, luxury hotels, and business events where they'd been openly affectionate and couple-like. Your husband has been living a double life, the investigator concluded. Elena has been integrated into his professional world as if she were his wife. The investigation also revealed shocking information about Elena's background and her suspicious access to Charles's client accounts and financial information. Elena Rodriguez entered the country illegally 5 years ago and has been working under false documentation. The investigator discovered her entire identity at Whitman and Associates is fraudulent. She's been using her relationship with Charles to access confidential client information and financial accounts. The evidence showed Elena had been systematically stealing small amounts from multiple client accounts, using her administrative access to Charles's portfolio management system. Elena has stolen approximately $400,000 from various client accounts over 18 months, the forensic accounting revealed. She's been very careful to keep individual thefts small enough to avoid detection. The theft had been enabled by Charles's trust and his willingness to give Elena administrative access to sensitive financial systems. Your husband has been unknowingly facilitating Elena's theft by allowing her unrestricted access to client accounts, the investigator explained. Elena had also been photographing confidential client documents and financial records, suggesting she might be selling information or planning larger thefts. Elena's activities go far beyond a simple affair, the investigator concluded. She's been using Charles to commit serious financial crimes. Most shocking was the revelation that Elena had been running an elaborate blackmail scheme against multiple wealthy married men in Manhattan's financial district. Elena has been photographing and recording intimate encounters with at least 6 other married executives, the investigator revealed. She's been extorting money from these men by threatening to expose their affairs to their wives and employers. The evidence showed Elena's blackmail operation had been generating significant income while she used her relationship with Charles as cover for her criminal activities. Elena has collected over $200,000 in blackmail payments from various executives over the past year. The financial investigation revealed she's been using Charles's reputation and social connections to meet and target other wealthy married men, the investigator explained. The blackmail scheme included detailed records of her victims, their weaknesses, and the amounts she'd collected from each target. Elena keeps careful records of her extortion activities, the evidence showed. She's treating blackmail like a professional business operation. Charles was apparently unaware that his girlfriend was a criminal who was using their relationship to facilitate theft and extortion throughout Manhattan's financial community. Your husband is involved with someone who could destroy his career and reputation, the investigator warned. Elena's criminal activities will eventually expose Charles to serious legal liability. Learning about Charles's affair was heartbreaking, but discovering Elena's criminal activities and the danger she posed to our reputation and finances was enraging. Charles isn't just cheating on me, I realized. He's unknowingly partnered with a criminal who's stealing from his clients and blackmailing his colleagues. The betrayal felt even worse knowing that Charles had been lying to me while exposing our family to serious legal and financial risks. If Elena's crimes are discovered, Charles could lose his banking license and face criminal charges. I understood the potential consequences. Our reputation and social standing could be destroyed if Elena's activities become public, I realized. The threat to everything I'd built? The investigation had revealed that Charles wasn't just unfaithful, he was dangerously naive about Elena's true character and criminal activities. Charles thinks he's having a romance with a young woman who admires him. I reflected on his stupidity. He has no idea he's being used by a professional criminal. The evidence gave me everything I needed to destroy both Charles and Elena, but I wanted to plan the perfect revenge that would protect my reputation while devastating theirs. I'm going to use my charity gala to expose Elena's crimes and Charles's stupidity, I decided. Manhattan's elite will witness the destruction of their credibility and careers. Beautiful souls. Discovering the full extent of Elena's criminal activities while Charles remained obliviously in love gave me the perfect opportunity to plan the most sophisticated revenge that would destroy them both, while elevating my own position in Manhattan society. My annual Sterling Foundation Spring Gala was scheduled for 6 weeks after my discovery of Charles's affair, providing the perfect venue for public revenge. The gala guest list included 500 of Manhattan's most influential people. Politicians, business leaders, celebrities, and society figures who represented the pinnacle of New York power. This year's gala will be the most important event in Sterling Foundation history. I decided while planning Elena's destruction. I strategically invited Elena as Charles's official +1, knowing she would be excited to attend Manhattan's most exclusive social event. Charles, I think it would be wonderful if you brought Elena to the gala, I told him sweetly. She's been so supportive of your work, and I'd love to meet her properly. Charles was surprised but pleased by my apparent acceptance of Elena's presence in his professional life. Victoria, that's incredibly generous of you, Charles responded. Elena has mentioned how much she admires your charitable work. I'm sure Elena will be fascinated to see how Manhattan's elite support children's education, I replied while planning her public humiliation. I also coordinated with federal financial crimes investigators who had been building a case against Elena based on my private investigators' evidence. We'll arrest Elena during the gala, the FBI agreed. Having 500 witnesses to her criminal activities will make the case even stronger. I prepared a comprehensive multimedia presentation exposing Elena's crimes that would be integrated into the gala's auction and awards ceremony. Tonight's auction will feature a special presentation about protecting our community from financial predators. I planned the dramatic revelation. The presentation included financial records showing Elena's theft, photographs of her blackmail activities, and documentation of her immigration fraud. Elena's criminal activities represent exactly the kind of threats our charity works to protect children from. I would frame the exposure as educational. I coordinated with Whitman and Associates managing partners to attend the gala as special guests, ensuring they would witness Elena's crimes being exposed. The firm's leadership needs to see what kind of employee has been accessing client accounts. I planned their shock and horror. I also invited several of Elena's blackmail victims as gala sponsors, giving them front row seats to her destruction. These men deserve to see Elena face consequences for her extortion. I justified their inclusion. The timing would be dressed in her finest, expecting to celebrate her acceptance into Manhattan society. When I destroyed her completely, working with federal authorities, I ensured that Elena's immigration fraud and financial crimes would result in immediate deportation after her arrest. Elena's illegal status combined with her financial crimes makes her deportation certain. Immigration officials confirmed she served prison time in federal custody before being permanently banned from re-entering the United States, the prosecutor explained. The federal case against Elena was airtight, with evidence of identity fraud, financial theft, and organized extortion that would result in significant prison time. Elena's criminal activities represent the worst kind of abuse of trust and privilege, federal prosecutors stated. I also coordinated with major media outlets to cover the gala, ensuring that Elena's exposure would be documented and publicized beyond the immediate guest list. This story will be front-page news in every Manhattan publication I planned. The maximum social destruction. The media coverage would ensure that Elena's crimes and Charles's stupidity would be permanent public record. Everyone in Manhattan will know exactly what kind of people Charles and Elena really are. I anticipated their social exile. While planning Elena's destruction, I also coordinated with Manhattan's best divorce attorneys to protect my assets and reputation during the inevitable divorce proceedings. Charles's affair with a criminal employee gives you enormous leverage in divorce negotiations, my attorney explained. His professional negligence and association with Elena's crimes will result in a very favorable settlement. The legal strategy outlined. I moved our liquid assets to accounts that Charles couldn't access, protecting our wealth from any potential liability related to Elena's crimes. If Elena's theft results in client lawsuits against Whitman and Associates, Charles could face significant financial liability, my financial advisor warned. Protecting our assets now ensures that Elena's crimes don't impact your financial security. The asset protection strategy concluded. I also documented Charles's lies and deception about his affair, creating additional evidence for divorce proceedings. Charles's pattern of deception will support claims of marital misconduct, my attorney noted. The divorce strategy would ensure that I retained control of our social connections, charitable foundation, and financial assets while Charles faced the consequences of his poor judgment. You'll emerge from this divorce stronger and more respected than ever, my legal team assured me. The gala would serve as both Elena's destruction and my public demonstration of strength and integrity in the face of betrayal. Gorgeous souls. The Sterling Foundation's Spring Gala became the most spectacular takedown in Manhattan society history when I exposed Elena's criminal empire in front of 500 elite witnesses while federal agents arrested her in her designer gown. The Spring Gala was held at the Metropolitan Museum of Art with 500 guests, representing the pinnacle of Manhattan wealth and influence. Elena arrived as Charles's date, wearing a stunning red evening gown and thousands of dollars in jewelry. Clearly excited to be attending Manhattan's most exclusive social event, Victoria Elena looks absolutely beautiful tonight, Charles told me proudly, having no idea that his girlfriend was about to be destroyed in front of everyone who mattered. Elena, welcome to the Sterling Foundation Gala. I greeted her graciously. I'm so pleased you could join us for this important evening. Elena was clearly thrilled to be among Manhattan's elite, networking enthusiastically and taking photos. Throughout the cocktail reception, Mrs. Sterling, thank you so much for including me, Elena said sweetly. This event is incredible, and your work with children's education is so inspiring. Tonight is going to be very educational, I replied, with a smile that she completely misunderstood. Charles was beaming with pride as he introduced Elena to business associates and social connections, believing he was integrating her into our world. Elena brings such fresh perspective to everything, Charles told our guests. She's been invaluable to my work at Whitman and Associates. Federal agents were positioned throughout the museum, ready to arrest Elena once I'd exposed her crimes to the assembled crowd. During the Gala's auction segment, I took the stage to address the crowd about protecting our community from sophisticated criminals. Tonight, I want to discuss threats to Manhattan's children that come from unexpected sources. I began while Elena watched from her front row table. Financial predators often infiltrate our communities by targeting successful, trusting individuals. I continued as Elena began looking nervous. I then began presenting evidence of Elena's crimes, starting with her immigration fraud and false identity. Elena Rodriguez, seated at table 12, has been working under fraudulent documentation for 5 years, I announced as the crowd gasped. She's been using her illegal status to gain access to confidential financial information at Whitman and Associates, I revealed while displaying evidence on screens throughout the museum. Elena's face went white as she realized she was being exposed in front of Manhattan's most powerful people. Elena has stolen over $400,000 from client accounts while conducting an extortion ring against married executives. I continued as guests turned to stare at her. Charles looked confused and horrified as he processed that his girlfriend was a criminal who had been using him to steal from his clients. She's been blackmailing at least 6 other married executives with compromising photographs, I revealed as several men in the audience looked uncomfortable. I then called upon Elena's blackmail victims to stand and address the crowd about her extortion activities. Elena Rodriguez has been threatening to destroy marriages and careers unless her victims paid her thousands of dollars. The first victim testified. She used her relationship with Charles Sterling to meet and target other married executives, another victim explained. Elena's blackmail operation has been terrorizing Manhattan's financial community for over a year, a third victim revealed. The testimony from multiple victims demonstrated the scope of Elena's criminal enterprise and her systematic abuse of trust. Elena represents the worst kind of predators, someone who uses intimate relationships to facilitate theft and extortion. I addressed the crowd. Her crimes have damaged families, careers, and the integrity of our financial institutions, I continued while Elena sat frozen in horror. The crowd was transfixed by the revelation that someone they'd just been socializing with was a sophisticated criminal. This is why the Sterling Foundation works to protect children from adults who abuse positions of trust. I connected Elena's crimes to our charitable mission. As I concluded my presentation, federal agents approached Elena's table to arrest her in front of 500 witnesses. Elena Rodriguez, you're under arrest for identity fraud, financial theft, and organized extortion, the FBI agent announced. Elena was handcuffed in her designer gown while Manhattan's elite watched in shock and fascination. You have the right to remain silent. The agent continued reading Miranda rights as photographers documented Elena's arrest. Elena's illegal immigration status means she'll be deported after serving her federal prison sentence. The immigration officer announced to the crowd, she's permanently banned from re-entering the United States. The officer continued as Elena was led away in custody. The arrest created a sensation among the guests, who had never witnessed a federal takedown at a charity gala. Victoria Sterling just exposed and destroyed a criminal in front of all of Manhattan. Guests were saying, Charles sat at his table, in complete shock, processing that his girlfriend was a criminal who had been using him to steal from his clients. I then addressed Charles's role in enabling Elena's crimes through his negligent oversight and unprofessional relationship. Charles Sterling's affair with Elena gave her access to confidential client information that she used to steal and extort, I announced. Banking regulators will be investigating Charles's failure to protect client assets and information. I revealed his impending professional consequences. Whitman and Associates managing partners who were present as gala guests looked horrified as they realized the liability Elena's crimes had created for their firm. Charles will face regulatory sanctions and potential license suspension for his role in this breach, I continued. His partnership at Whitman and Associates has been terminated effective immediately. The managing partner announced from the audience Charles's 20-year career in investment banking was destroyed in front of everyone who mattered in Manhattan's financial community. Charles Sterling will never work in banking again, industry observers were saying. The professional destruction was as devastating as the personal humiliation of his affair being exposed publicly. The gala raised a record $15 million for Sterling Foundation while demonstrating my strength and integrity in the face of betrayal. Victoria Sterling handled this crisis with incredible grace and strength, guests were saying throughout the evening. She protected our entire community by exposing Elena's crimes, society leaders acknowledged. The dramatic revelation actually enhanced my reputation and social standing, showing Manhattan's elite that I was someone who protected their interests. Victoria is exactly the kind of leader our community needs, influential donors commented. Media coverage of the gala focused on my courage in exposing Elena's crimes rather than Charles's affair, protecting my reputation while destroying. There's Sterling Foundation Gala exposes criminal ring became the headline story, emphasizing my role as community protector. The social victory was complete-eyed, eliminated my rivals while strengthening my position as Manhattan's most respected, charitable leader. Charles's affair with a criminal and his professional destruction resulted in the most favorable divorce settlement possible. Charles has no leverage in divorce negotiations, my attorney explained. His professional misconduct and criminal association give you complete advantage. I received $50 million in assets, full control of Sterling Foundation, and retention of all our social connections and properties. Charles will leave this marriage with minimal assets and a destroyed reputation. The settlement terms concluded. Elena was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison followed by permanent deportation, ensuring she could never threaten anyone. Again, Elena's crimes were sophisticated and caused significant damage to multiple victims. The judge noted during sentencing. Charles moved to Florida in disgrace, unable to work in banking and socially exiled from Manhattan society. Charles Sterling became a cautionary tale about the dangers of midlife crisis affairs. Society observers noted. I maintained my position as Manhattan's premier, charitable leader while eliminating the threats to my reputation and community. Victoria Sterling demonstrated exactly how a woman of class handles betrayal. Society pages concluded. That's how you handle a cheating husband and his criminal mistress, y'all. You investigate their crimes, coordinate with federal authorities, and destroy them publicly while protecting your own reputation and community. Sometimes the best revenge comes from exposing dangerous criminals while demonstrating your own integrity and strength. Charles thought he could betray me without consequences, but his poor judgment led to the complete destruction of his career and reputation. Elena thought she could use my husband to steal from our community, but her greed led to federal prison and permanent exile. Never let betrayal destroy your dignity, gorgeous souls. Use it as an opportunity to demonstrate your true character and strength. And gorgeous souls. If this story resonated with you, if you faced betrayal from people you trusted, I want you to know that justice and dignity can triumph over deception and crime. If you want to hear more stories like this, more tales of high society revenge, criminal exposure, and elegant justice, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Your support means everything to me. Beautiful souls, every like, every comment, every share helps me reach more people who need to hear these stories. So smash that subscribe button. Leave me a comment about your own experiences with betrayal and revenge. And let's build a community of people who refuse to let criminals and cheaters destroy our lives. I'll see you gorgeous souls in the next story. And remember, never let anyone's betrayal diminish your dignity. Investigate when something feels wrong, and always protect your community from dangerous people.